Good morning. Yesterday was Palm Sunday, and I'm sure just like you, when I came home yesterday evening, I started listening to the news and started hearing that this week was supposed to be our Pearl Harbor, our 9/11, that it could be one of the worst weeks in our country's history. As I was hearing all that, it made me think about Admiral Jim Stockdale. You may remember the name. Admiral Stockdale was a vice presidential candidate back with Ross Perot when he ran for president. But he had a long history before that. It turned out that he was a Navy fighter pilot. He was serving in Vietnam in the 60s. He was shot down over North Vietnam and taken as prisoner of war. He was the highest ranking prisoner of war that we had. And because of that, he was tortured just repeatedly. I mean, they broke his leg twice. They beat him unmercifully. More than 20 times he literally was beaten almost to the point of being unconscious. Sometimes he was. And yet he survived. 7.5 years of being in prison, he survived. He made it home, and he wound up turning his life for all kinds of good, doing wonderful things. Like I said, even running for vice president of the United States. Fascinating thing is he was interviewed by Jim Collins in his book, Good for Great. And Jim Collins asked him and said, "How did you survive?" And he said, "Well, I never lost faith that I was going to get through this and that I was going to turn it for good and get something out of it for my life." Jim Collins then asked, "Who didn't survive?" And Admiral Stockdale said, "Well, that's easy. It was the optimist. The people who said, we're going to get out by Christmas, and Christmas came and went and they didn't get out. We're going to get out by Easter, and Easter came and went and we didn't get out. We're going to get out by Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving came and went and we didn't get out. And suddenly we're back to the next Christmas. And when we came back to the next Christmas, they lost hope and they died." And then he went on to add, "You must never lose faith that you will prevail. But you must also never be afraid to look at the most brutal facts of the current reality, whatever they may be." It became known as the Stockdale Paradox. Every week when we have staff meeting, we look at values that we have. We've made a list of our values as a staff at St. Luke's, and every week we teach on one of those values, and when we've gone through the list, we just simply start over again, and we've been doing this now for 20 years. And it helps us to know the things we really do believe. And one of those things is the Stockdale Paradox. Because we're always saying to one another, we need to know the facts. What are the facts of the current reality? And we never lose belief that we are going to be successful. And we know that we're going to be successful in being the church because of our faith. Our faith in our trust in God's constant love of us, his children. It is that faith that gives us the strength, that helps us to know we're going to make it. Just give us the facts, and we're not afraid of whatever they might be. They simply tell us, what do we need to do? That's why tonight we're going to be having our State of the Church meeting. I wanted you to kind of know, what are the facts right now about your church? Our family of faith, how are we doing? How are we doing about the business of sharing Christ? How are we doing about the business of growing in our faith? How are we doing in our commitment to be in mission, to share God's love and be able to make a difference? How are we doing as we share, grow, and serve? So we're going to be talking about that tonight at 6 o'clock. You can go online just like you're going to worship online, and that's where you'll find the link. Go to the home page, our webpage there at the church. There'll be a link. You can click on that. 6 o'clock tonight, and I want to talk about all those things and how we're doing, because we're not afraid of the facts, because we have an undying faith that we are going to be successful as the Church of Jesus Christ, carrying out that mission of sharing God's love and bringing hope to the world. We're going through Holy Week right now, and just remember that when it got to be the darkest, when Jesus was crucified and buried, it's out of that moment that we have our greatest hope, that celebration of Easter. Let's prepare our hearts together this week as we're going to celebrate why we are the people of hope. Have a great day.